Pow, pow, pow. Dub in the chat. A W. Ha.
The Indiana Fever have just accomplished something that felt almost impossible 3 months ago. They now sit 4 games above .500 for the first time since 2015. Even more impressively, they achieved this milestone without Caitlin Clark taking the floor. But that's not even the most shocking part. While many assumed they would struggle without their superstar, the Fever ended up shattering for franchise records in one single game against Paige Bueckers and the Dallas Wings. What no one could have predicted, however, was that 2 players, who weren't even on the roster at the start of the season, would emerge as the heroes of this remarkable story. So, what were the 4 records broken? Here's a clue. They involved Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, Natasha Howard, and the mid-season additions of Ari McDonald and Chloe Bibby. Coming off their 100 win over Phoenix, which coach Stephanie White called a big win, the Fever entered Dallas determined to keep their momentum alive. Former Dallas wing Natasha Howard caught everyone's attention early, as Kelsey Mitchell, expected to be the one taking the shot, instead delivered a perfectly timed pass with no one in the passing lane, leading to a key play. Heading into this matchup, the expectation was that Indiana would crumble without Caitlin Clark. But instead, something extraordinary happened. Picture the scene on August 1st. Clark sat on the sideline for her 6th straight game after sustaining a groin injury on July 15th, with no clear timetable for her return. Meanwhile, the Dallas Wings, desperate to stop their skid after dropping 8 of their last 10 games, booked the American Airlines Arena, home of the Mavericks, with rookie sensation Paige Bueckers ready to lead the charge. The stakes were high. The question was, could the Fever keep their winning streak alive without their leader on the court? When asked about their recent rhythm, the Fever credited it to having more practice time, allowing them to fine-tune the details. They knew that after the All-Star break, the second half of the season was about adjustments and finding ways to counter opponent strategies. Staying locked in during practices and shoot-arounds became a focal point to keep them prepared. The opening tip revealed everything about Indiana's mindset. They came out swinging, determined to prove themselves. There was no hesitation, no waiting for someone else to take control. This wasn't going to be a game where they simply hung on. It was going to be a statement. Kelsey Mitchell took control immediately, attacking the rim with intent, confidently, knocking down shots, and setting the tone that they were not backing down. She finished with 23 points on 9 of -19 shooting, stepping up to carry the offensive burden Clark usually shouldered. Mitchell had already led the league in scoring throughout July. Mitchell's scoring included 14 20-point games this season, her 8th year in the league, along with a couple of 30-point performances. She drilled threes, created opportunities in the paint, and showcased her driving ability, at one point blowing past defenders for an easy layup. Her passing vision also shined, as she dished out a beautiful assist and immediately began running back down the court, certain it would go in. On the other side, Paige Bueckers wasn't about to back down. The rookie phenom delivered 22 points on 7 of -14 shooting, plus 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. She was the only Wings player to reach double figures, showing why she's considered a 3-level scorer even this early in her career. This set up a tense back-and-forth battle that kept fans on edge. The free throw disparity quickly became a talking point. Dallas attempted 25 free throws compared to Indiana's 13, almost double. Fans immediately voiced their frustrations online, accusing the referees of bias and claiming Bueckers was flopping to draw fouls. Even Wings head coach Chris Claines expressed irritation with the officiating crew after the game. Adding to struggles was a nightmare performance from Dejanai Carrington, the reigning most improved player. She managed just 4 points, committed 5 turnovers, and made a costly late third-quarter decision by dribbling up the court and launching a wild, ill-advised shot that left fans shaking their heads. Indiana, meanwhile, stayed aggressive. They attacked the basket, converted in transition, and leaned on Kelsey Mitchell's consistency to keep Dallas at bay. When the buzzer sounded, the Fever had secured an 88-78 victory. This wasn't just about surviving without Caitlin Clark, it was proof they could win convincingly without her. As Stephanie White explained afterward, it came down to finding ways to score in bursts, relying on multiple players, getting stops when it mattered, making in-game adjustments, and leaning on the team's depth to players who weren't even part of the roster 3 months ago, became crucial in this win. Ari McDonald and Chloe Bibby. Neither signing was expected to make headlines. Both were brought in for depth, yet they ended up changing the game. McDonald's journey could be a movie script. She started the season without a contract, unwanted by any team, before Indiana offered her a rest-of-season deal on June 25th after a short hardship stint. Against Dallas, she scored 15 points, handed out 6 assists, and ran the offense as though she had been with the team all year. This performance came just after a career-high outing against Phoenix. What made McDonald stand out was her point guard instincts. She knew exactly when to push the pace, when to slow it down, and how to get her teammates involved. Coach White pointed out her high basketball IQ, saying she understood her impact on the game, started plays from the defensive end, dictated tempo, attacked the rim, and created opportunities for others. She also had the awareness to recognize when she was hot and when to feed a teammate who had the hot hand. Mitchell praised her leadership, calling her a blessing in disguise for stepping up when the team needed it most. Chloe Bibby made an immediate impact as well. In limited minutes off the bench, she drained 2 massive three-pointers, perfectly timed to give Indiana breathing room and shift momentum. Her floor spacing ability created openings for others to work inside. After just 2 games, Bibby earned a rest-of-season contract. Coach White explained that Bibby fit seamlessly into the system, offering something the Fever had lacked, a stretch forward who could space the floor, especially in games where they needed to open the lane for Aaliyah Boston to dominate inside. McDonald brought leadership and control at the point, while Bibby provided spacing and scoring punch. Both players filled roles they weren't originally signed to handle, and the Fever thrived because of it. But they weren't the only ones making history that night. While fans were glued to the scoreboard, the Fever were also rewriting the record books, for franchise records fell in a single evening, and one of them had never been done in WNBA history. Aaliyah Boston and Natasha Howard became the first WNBA teammates ever to each post at least 10 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals in the same game. Boston finished with 12 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. Howard matched her with 11 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. In the long history of the league, no 2 teammates had ever achieved this statistical combination in the same night until now.